Years ago, in a small farming town in North Carolina, a child sitting in the kitchen of his grandmother's farmhouse witnessed an event that would change the child's life. Today is the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time. The gospel reading today begins a series of Sundays that feature the 6th chapter of John's Gospel on the bread of life. In the first reading, we hear of Elijah, a prophet in the book of Kings, and he was widely known at the time as a prophet. In the reading, he receives a gift of barley loaves, and he has the bread distributed to a large crowd. Contrary to what his servants expected, there was enough to feed everyone, and some left over. It's important to us to notice that Elijah was given a gift, and he chose to share his gift, and that he grew that gift by sharing it with others. As the child sat in the hot summer kitchen, a man appeared at the grandmother's screen door. The man hesitated, then he knocked. The grandmother approached the door, and the child could tell by her expression that she recognized him. She pushed the door open, and the man pulled his hat off and looked down at the ground. They spoke for a short time. Then she closed the screen door and walked to the kitchen counter. She made 2 sandwiches, wrapped them in wax paper, and returned to the screen door where the man was waiting. She opened the door and without another word handed him the sandwiches. The man took them, put his hat back on, and left without looking at her. Besides being the 17th Sunday in Ordinary Time, today is also the first World Day for grandparents and the elderly. And it's placed near the feast of Saints Joachim and Anne, who were the grandparents of Jesus. And the World Day reminds us that grandparents are a vital part of the body of Christ, a part of our family that has something special to contribute. Now, the child waited until that evening to ask his mother who the man was. And the mother replied that the man actually was the grandmother's brother. The mother said that years ago they had had a disagreement, and even though time had passed, neither one was willing to forgive the hurt. Then the child asked, why did he come to the grandmother's door? And why did she give him sandwiches? Because they still love each other, was the mother's reply. In the gospel today, we hear the familiar story of the loaves and fishes. And Jesus takes 5 barley loaves and 2 fishes that were offered by a boy in the crowd, and he feeds a crowd of 5,000. And we notice that the gospel contains the same elements as the first reading: a gift received, a decision to share that gift, and through giving, a multiplication of that gift in others. The boy never forgot the encounter between the grandmother and her estranged brother. And as he grew, the scene would come back to him, and he pondered and he wondered about it. Over time, he grew to understand that the kindness offered by the grandmother and the willingness of the brother to return to her door were actions of a family. The grandmother continued to love the brother, and the brother trusted that he would not be turned away. She had a gift of love. He had a gift of trust. And they shared their gifts at that screen door on that hot day. The lesson became part of the boy's life. Children, through their contact with grandparents, observe and learn from them. The lessons are often subtle and deep. Grandparents have lived and have gained wisdom. They often are at peace with life and with God, and they communicate that through their actions. The child can take what the grandparent has to offer and make it into a beautiful part of their life. Then, when the child has grown, learned, and become a grandparent themselves, he or she can pass those gifts to their grandchildren. In the gospel today, Jesus received the gift of 5 barley loaves and 2 fish and passed that gift on to the 5,000. And so it is with grandparents. The love, attention, and actions of a grandparent are offerings of their gifts, gifts to be cherished, to be used, and then passed on to the next grandchild. Eventually, that passing on feeds thousands. It is how the bread of life works. We receive Jesus' gift each week here at his table. It is in the receiving, the using, and the sharing that we live our life as a family in harmony with God through Jesus, his Son.